The city never slept. Neon lights covered the tall buildings. Flying cars moved like insects in the sky. The streets below were dirty and wet from acid rain. Robots walked next to humans. Everything was fast, loud, and cold. In the middle of this city, a girl was crawling on the ground. Her name was Ala. She had no legs. She wore an old, torn hoodie. Her hands were bruised and dirty from crawling. People walked past her like she was invisible. Some looked at her with pity. Others laughed or ignored her completely. She didn't care anymore. She had one goal. She wanted legs, not just normal. Legs, mechanical legs, strong and powerful. In this city, cybernetic body parts were common. Rich people bought them to look better. Soldiers used them for war. Criminals used them to run fast and kill faster. But for a girl like Ayla, nothing was free. After weeks of searching, Ayla finally found the place. Hidden between two dead buildings was a red door with a broken sign. It read, "Modmech, we fix humans." She pushed the door open with her shoulder and dragged herself in. The room was dark and smelled of metal and blood. Old machines buzzed quietly. A man in a long coat stood behind a table full of tools. He was the doctor, not a real one, but people called him that. He turned when he saw her. "Payment?" he asked coldly. Ayla looked up at him with tired eyes. "I don't have money," she whispered. The man didn't blink. He just waited. "I'll give you anything," she said. "Take my body. Do what you want. Just give me legs, please." The doctor nodded slowly. "Full body trade. You'll lose everything from the waist down. You'll feel nothing ever again, but you'll walk." Ayla closed her eyes. She nodded. The doctor pressed a button, and the surgical table opened. Robotic arms came to life. Blades shimmered under the light. Ayla pulled herself toward the table. She didn't care about pain anymore. She just wanted to walk. She lifted herself up, one last time, and lay flat on the cold metal surface. The machines moved toward her body. A laser scanned her spine. She breathed slowly. This was it. But before the machine touched her, a voice spoke from the dark corner of the room. "Stop." The doctor froze. Ayla opened her eyes. A man stepped out of the shadows, tall, with a metal arm and a tired face. His eyes were filled with something unusual in this city. Kindness. The doctor frowned. "You don't control this deal," he said. The man ignored him. He looked at Ayla. "You don't have to do this," he said gently. "I want legs," she said. Her voice cracked. "I don't want to crawl anymore. I don't want to be weak." "You're not weak," he said. "You're surviving. That's strength." She stared at him. Her lips shook. "Then give me legs. I'll give anything." He stepped closer and said softly, "You're not for sale." The doctor became angry. "If you're not buying, leave." The man pulled out a chip, a high-tech ID. "Riven, ex-soldier, licensed mech builder. I'm taking her. You can't take her." "From my table," the doctor shouted. Riven stepped between Ayla and the machine. "She's not yours. She's not a machine. She's a person." For a second, no one moved. Then Riven gently lifted Ayla into his arms. She was shocked. No one had ever touched her like that with care. "You don't know me," she said, voice shaking. "I don't need to," he replied. "I know what they'll do to you in this place. I've seen it before." He walked out, carrying her like something precious. The doctor shouted behind them, but Riven didn't stop. Outside, the air was cold. The street was dark. Ala looked up at the sky. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Because someone helped me once," he replied. "And I didn't listen. I don't want to make that mistake again." He took her to a small garage at the edge of the city. Inside were machines, tools, and a workbench. It wasn't clean or big, but it was safe. He placed her on a bed. "I'll build you legs, but not like theirs. No pain, no price. Just real strength." Ayla looked at him. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like trash. She felt human, but in the shadows, far away, a camera blinked. Someone was watching. Someone. Who wanted her back? Asterisk rain hammered the city, bouncing off metal roofs and shining streets. In the flickering yellow light of a tiny garage, Riven sat at his workbench, hands moving with slow care. Sparks flew from his tools as he worked. Behind him, on a narrow bed, Alla slept, curled up in an old gray blanket. She had not slept so deeply in years. Even in dreams, her hands moved, searching for something lost. Sometimes she whispered in her sleep. Strange words, numbers, pieces of a language only half remembered. When she woke, she saw Riven staring at a half-finished metal frame on the table. She felt different. The air here was quiet, filled with the soft humming of machines and the smell of oil. It was not like the street. She listened to her own breathing and wondered if this was what safety felt like. "Are you hungry?" Riven asked without looking up. Ayla hesitated a little. He slid a protein bar across the table. She caught it with both hands, clumsy but quick. She ate in silence, watching him. His metal arm moved easily, more fluid than any other machine she'd ever seen. "Is that your own work?" she asked quietly, nodding to his arm. He smiled, just a little. "Yes, I built it after the war. It works better than the one the military gave me." She studied him. "Why help me? Why not just walk away?" He paused, setting down his tools. His eyes grew distant, as if he saw another place, another time. "Once I had someone to protect. She was taken. I let her go because I thought I couldn't help. I was wrong. I ran away from my mistakes. When I saw you on that table, I thought, maybe I could do one thing right." Alla stared at her hands. She remembered the feeling of cold metal under her back, the whir of robotic arms ready to cut. She wanted to forget. Riven reached for a stack of blueprints. He spread them on the table, showing her sketches of legs, not bulky and ugly, but elegant, almost beautiful. "These are for you. Not black market, not military. Something new, something better." She touched the paper gently. "Will I walk again?" "I promise," he said. He turned back to his tools. Ayla watched him work, her fear slowly turning into something else. Hope. But hope was a dangerous thing in this city at night. While Riven slept, Alla explored the garage. She found a mirror in a dusty box and looked at her own face, pale, tired, but alive. She noticed a strange scar at the base of her neck. She pressed it, and a jolt of memory flashed in her mind. A room full of scientists, her body floating in a tank, wires running everywhere. She gasped and fell back. A voice echoed in her mind. Project Aura must be contained. Alla shook her head, trying to forget. But the memory would not leave. In the morning. Riven was already awake, tuning the delicate wires that would become her new nerves. Ayla watched him and tried to find the words. "I remembered something," she said. "A lab, people looking at me. They called me a project." Riven looked up sharply. "You sure?" She nodded. "I think they did something to me." He frowned, thoughtful. "I'll check for trackers. The black market doctors sometimes hide them." He helped her onto the workbench, his touch always gentle. He scanned her with a small device, watching a green light flicker. Suddenly, it beeped. "There's something here," he said, voice tight. He found a tiny chip hidden near her spine. Carefully, he removed it. "They were tracking you." Alla felt a cold wave wash over her. "Who are they?" "I don't know. But they'll come looking," he said, as the days passed. Riven built her legs, and Alla watched, learning how the world of machines worked. She told him about her old life, little pieces about crawling through alleys, stealing food, hiding from the people who wanted her back. He listened, never judging. Sometimes late at night, he told her stories of the war, about the friends he lost, and the things he wished he could change. Ayla realized that Riven was just as lost as she was, running from a past that would not let him go. The new legs were nearly finished now. They gleamed under the light, made from rare alloys and programmed with code only Riven understood. Ayla felt a strange excitement and fear. What if she couldn't learn to use them? What if the people from her memories came to take her away? One night, a shadow moved outside the garage. A low electronic growl rumbled through the walls. Riven woke instantly, pulling Ayla behind him. A cyberhound, all metal teeth and red eyes. Smashed through the door, Riven grabbed a heavy wrench, standing between Ayla and the beast. "Stay back," he shouted. The hound lunged. Riven fought hard, but it was too strong. Ayla, her half-finished legs clamped to her body, pulled herself forward. The machine recognized her, pausing for a moment. Ayla stared into its red eyes. "I'm not going back," she whispered. She swung a metal bar at the hound, smashing its sensors. Sparks flew. Riven finished it with one last strike. The garage was silent again. Riven held Ayla close. "They found us. We have to move. You're more important than I thought." Ayla nodded, her heart pounding. She knew her past was coming for her. But with Riven, for the first time, she felt she had a chance to fight back. And this time, she would not be easy to take. The world outside was waking up as Riven and Ayla packed their few belongings into a faded old bag. The destroyed cyberhound still lay in pieces on the cold garage floor. A reminder that safety here was only temporary. Riven glanced at Ayla. Checking her new legs, one finished, the other still a delicate frame of wires and metal bones. She balanced on the workbench, stubborn, determined, but also afraid. He could see it in her eyes, even though she tried to hide it. "You'll need to rest soon," he said, fastening the straps of her new limb. Ayla shook her head. "No time, they'll send more." She tried to stand. Her left leg moved naturally, powerful and smooth, but the right wobbled, unfinished. She gripped the bench, refusing to fall. Every movement sent a jolt of pain through her body, but she kept going. Riven offered his hand, gentle but firm. She hesitated, then took it. Together, they left the garage for the city's edge. The streets already crowded with morning workers and robot cleaners as they walked. Ayla's memories returned in strange flashes. She saw white rooms, silver tables, men and women in glass masks. Voices spoke from above, subject aura. Memory reset in progress. She shook her head, trying to clear it. The world around her blurred and then snapped into focus. Riven noticed her distraction. "What do you remember?" he asked. Quietly, Lot thought for a long time. "I remember numbers, campaign, and someone calling my name, Malabut, also. Another name, Aura, is that me?" Riven looked away, guilt flashing in his eyes. "Maybe. Sometimes they give you names before they take them away." They found shelter under a broken bridge, hidden from the busy streets. Riven set to work. Tools spread around him. He wanted to finish her second leg quickly, but his hands shook. He kept looking at Ayla, at the scar on her neck, at the strange calm in her eyes. Ayla watched him, wondering if he was afraid of her, wondering if she was afraid of herself. A gentle rain started. Drops tapped on the metal above. Ayla turned her gaze to the sky. "Do you ever wish you could forget?" she asked. Riven wiped his brow. "All the time," she nodded. "Me too. But sometimes I want to remember. Just to know who I am." For the first time, Riven smiled. A real smile. You're more than what they did to you. You're more than wires and code. Ayla felt warmth in her chest. She reached out, touching the unfinished metal on her right leg. These are beautiful. Why are you helping me? He hesitated. I already told you. She looked at him, her gaze sharp. But you know something about me? You know more than you say. Riven was silent. He kept working. Suddenly, Ayla's vision blurred again. A memory flashed in her mind, a white room. People shouting, alarms ringing. She saw herself, younger, wires running from her head, pain burning through her body. She's evolving, a voice said. She's not safe. Ayla gasped and fell. Back, shaking. Riven dropped his tool and caught her. Easy, he whispered. What did you see? She gripped his hand, knuckles white. I'm not just a girl, am I? I'm something else. Riven nodded, his voice almost a whisper. They made you? Project Aura was supposed to be a weapon, but you escaped. Survived when nobody else did. Tears filled Ayla's eyes, but she blinked them away. I don't want to be a weapon. You're not, Riven said. You're a person. They tried to break you, but you're still here. Their quiet moment was broken by a sound of mechanical drone buzzing in the sky. Riven pulled Ayla deeper under the bridge. The drone scanned the street, searching. We have to move, Riven said. They're getting closer. Ayla looked at her unfinished leg, fear mixing with anger. I can help. I can fight. Riven shook his head. Not yet. We need to finish your legs. Then we run. Or we fight. But not now. They waited, silent, until the drone passed. Riven handed Ayla a small tool. You want to help? Fix your own leg. I'll show you how. Her hands shook at first, but Riven guided her. Together, they connected wires, tightened bolts, sealed circuits. Ayla felt a strange pride. She was building herself, not just being built by someone else. As the sun set, her second leg was almost finished. Ayla stood, shaky but stronger. I'm not a weapon, she said, more to herself than to Riven. I'm not property. I'm not for sale. Riven nodded, proud. No, you're not. That night, as the city's lights flickered and machines hummed, Ayla dreamed not of the lab, but of running free and fast on legs she helped build. But far away, in a dark office, a scientist watched a screen showing her face. Project Aura is alive, he whispered. She's learning. The hunt was far from over. Ayla's new legs clicked quietly with each step as she and Riven moved through the underbelly of the city. Above them, the world buzzed and shined. But down here, everything was old, rusty, and hidden. Pipes dripped, rats ran along metal beams. This was where forgotten things lived. Ayla was learning to trust her legs. Every movement felt strange, but exciting, like she was finally connected to something bigger than pain and hunger. Riven stayed close, his metal arm ready in case danger returned. They kept to the shadows, moving through tunnels, past sleeping strangers and lost machines. Riven led the way. He'd been here before. His old army coat made him look like a ghost from a forgotten war. Ayla tried to keep her thoughts calm. Each time her foot hit the ground, she felt a surge of energy. She was faster than any normal person, stronger too. But something inside her felt off, like a storm waiting to break. Riven stopped at a small door behind a pile of broken vending machines. He knocked 3 times. An old woman with robotic eyes peered out. She looked at Ayla's legs and let them in without a word. Inside, the room was crowded with broken tech screens, wires, metal arms, old android parts. The old woman called. Nana was a genius with machines. She patched up Riven's coat and checked Ayla's legs, shaking her head with a smile. These are special, Nana said, tapping the metal. Not many people can handle legs like these. Ayla looked away. I didn't ask for them. I just wanted to walk. Nana touched her hand gently. Now you can do more than walk. Don't waste it. While Nana worked, Riven dug through a box and found an old radio. He played with it until a voice cracked through the static. Repeat. Security alert. Subject Aura last seen in South District. Approach with caution. She is dangerous. Ala froze. Her picture flashed across a tiny screen, her face, her new legs, a long list of warnings. Nana turned off the radio. You can't. Stay here long. They'll find you. Riven nodded. We'll move at dawn. As night crept in, Isla tried to rest, but her mind wouldn't let her sleep. She remembered things she shouldn't know: codes, passwords, escape routes through the city. She knew how to break locks, how to hide from cameras, even how to move without making a sound. Why do I know these things? She whispered in the darkness. Riven sat across the room, watching her. They put it in your head. You're not just muscle. You're built for survival. That's why you're still here. Ayla shook her head. I don't want to be built. I want to be real. Riven's eyes softened. You're as real as anyone. More, maybe. You choose what you do now. That's what matters. Just before dawn, Ala heard the low thump of boots outside. Nana cursed and threw open a hatch in the floor. Go, now. Riven and Ala dropped into the darkness below. They crawled through narrow tunnels, moving fast. Ayla's legs made her almost silent, even in the tightest spaces. Above, voices shouted. Drones buzzed. Nana's voice roared at the soldiers, keeping them busy. Riven led Ayla through a maze of pipes and old subway cars. But then a red light flashed on the wall motion sensor, hacked to life by someone smart. There. Tracking us, Riven muttered. Ala clenched her fists. She felt something inside her click, a memory, maybe, or a program waking up. Give me your comlink, she said suddenly. Riven handed over his device. Ala closed her eyes and listened to the city's signals, the radio chatter, the drone controls, the pulses of security cameras. In her mind, she saw it all. The city's network, a map of every eye and ear, watching them. They're coming from the east tunnel. 3 men, 1 drone, she said quietly. Riven stared at her. How do you know? I just do, she whispered, scared by her own mind. They moved quickly, taking a different route. At the next turn, they found a group of homeless kids. Ayla recognized one, a girl with silver hair she'd helped once in the alleys. The girl grinned and pointed the way to a hidden door. Go fast, she said. Bad people are coming. Ayla thanked her, feeling a strange warmth, for the first time a sense of belonging, of being seen. They ran until they reached the city's edge. Dawn was breaking, painting the sky gold and red. Kayla looked at her hands, feeling powerful and terrified. What am I? She asked softly. Riven placed his hand on her shoulder. You're Ayla. You're free. That's enough. But even as he spoke, Ayla felt something deep inside her signal. A calling, maybe a warning. She knew the chase wasn't over. She would have to run, to fight, and maybe even to lead. Somewhere far away, a scientist watched her on a screen, voice calm but cold. She's learning. She's adapting. Prepare the next phase. Ala stared at the sunrise, her heart racing, her legs strong beneath her. For the first time, she wasn't just running away. She was running towards something new. Rain had stopped, but the air smelled like lightning. Ala and Riven hid in an abandoned train car outside the city. The metal walls creaked every time the wind blew, but it was the safest place they could find. Ayla sat cross-legged, staring at her reflection in a broken window. The city lights glowed on her metal legs, making her look almost unreal. For the first time, Ayla felt what it meant to be more than human. She flexed her new legs, feeling raw power and speed. She could run faster than any machine. She could jump higher than the rooftops. Her balance was perfect, her movement quiet. But with every improvement, she felt something slipping away inside. "Do you remember what it felt like?" she asked quietly. Before all this, Riven was cleaning, his metal arm with a rag. He paused, thinking about her question. "Sometimes, I remember having two real arms. I remember feeling the wind on my skin. I remember being normal." Isla nodded, her fingers tapping on the floor. "I feel colder now, not outside. Inside. Like a part of me is missing." Riven moved closer, sitting beside her. "That's what they want. The people who made you. They want you to forget you're human." She looked at him, her eyes tired. "What if I'm not? What if I'm just a machine that thinks it's a girl?" Riven shook his head. "You care, you feel. You make your own choices. Machines can't. Do that? Not yet." She smiled a little, comforted by his words, but the fear didn't leave. In the silence, Ala thought about the memories she'd gained, how she knew things she'd never learned. How she could read the codes in her mind and sense signals in the air. She wondered if that was what being human meant, or if she was just programmed to believe it. A sudden noise outside made them both jump. Riven peeked through a crack and saw two black vans in the distance. "They're searching," he said quietly. "We'll move soon." Isla nodded and looked down at the bag Riven had carried for days. She noticed a folder sticking out, its edges worn. Out of curiosity, she pulled it free and opened it. Inside were photos, old and faded. A younger Isla stared out from the pictures, her eyes wild, her hair tangled, wires trailing from her neck. In one photo, she was surrounded by men in lab coats. In another, she was strapped to a table, her face twisted in pain. Riven saw her holding the folder. He froze, then slowly sat down beside her. "You knew me before," Isla said, her voice barely a whisper. Riven nodded, shame on his face. "I was one of them. I worked on the project, Project Aura. I thought it was just science. But then I saw what they did to you. I tried to stop it. They locked me out. I broke you free, but you ran. I thought you died." Isla felt her anger flare, but it faded as quickly as it came. She saw the sadness in his eyes. "You tried to save me." He nodded again. "I left everything. I built a new life, but I never forgot you." Ala closed the folder, her hands shaking. "Why didn't you tell me?" Riven's voice cracked. "I was afraid. Afraid you'd hate me. Afraid you'd remember." The pain, Ala was quiet for a long time. She stared at the city lights, thinking about her past and her future. Then she looked at Riven and placed her hand on his. "I don't hate you," she said softly. "I'm still here because of you." Outside, the sound of boots echoed on the wet ground. The black vans had stopped. People in armor moved through the shadows, scanning the train cars. Riven checked his tool bag. "We need to go. Now." Ala stood, her legs silent and strong. She looked at her reflection one last time. She was not just a machine. She was not just a memory. She was something new, something the scientists had never planned for. They ran out the back of the train, dodging the searchlights. Ala moved like a ghost, almost invisible. Riven followed, trusting her to lead the way. She heard the radio. Chatter in her mind saw the paths the soldiers would take and guided them through the maze of empty rail cars. When they reached the city edge, Isla stopped and turned to Riven. "I know who I am now, and I know what they want." Riven squeezed her shoulder. "What will you do?" Ayla looked at the city, her eyes hard. "I'll find the others like me. I'll break the project. I won't let them hurt anyone else." In that moment, the fear inside her faded. She wasn't cold anymore. She was ready. The hunt was over. The fight was just beginning. Ayla and Riven made their way into the heart of the city, using the old tunnels beneath the streets. Every turn, every shadow, brought new memories to hers, some planted deep inside her by the people who made her. Above them, the city buzzed. But down here, everything was silent, except the sound of their footsteps and the quiet hum of Ayla's mechanical legs. They found shelter in a forgotten storage room hidden behind rusted pipes. The air was thick and damp. Riven sat down, exhaustion written all over his face. Ayla checked the door 3 times, listening for anything unusual, her new senses sharper than ever. It was as if she could feel the network of machines and cameras. Above her, a web of eyes searching for her. Riven rested against the wall. He pulled out a small device, something he'd hidden in his coat. Ayla watched as he opened a secure connection and sent a silent message. He looked tired, nervous. Ayla sat across from him. "You're not telling me something," she said quietly. He looked up at her, surprised. Then he nodded. "You're right.
Yeah.
There's more you need to know." She waited. He set the device down and began. "I was part of the team that designed you. I joined because I thought we could help people build new bodies for the injured, help soldiers walk again. But the project changed. They wanted weapons. They wanted control. When I found out what they were really doing, it was too late."
They
"Made you different, smarter, stronger, more human." Ayla listened, her heart pounding. "So why did you leave?" Riven's voice shook. "I saw them testing on you. I saw the pain, the fear. I couldn't watch anymore. I broke protocol and tried to help you escape. I failed. They caught me, erased my clearance, and told everyone. I was dead. I've been hiding ever since." Ayla closed her eyes, fighting the swirl of memories, painful flashes of bright lights, cold tables, voices shouting orders. She saw Riven's face from long ago, younger and desperate, reaching for her through the chaos. A siren sounded somewhere above. Ayla tensed, but Riven touched her shoulder. "They're searching every building. We can't stay here much longer." Ayla nodded. She stood up, looking down at her hands. "You said they made others like me. Where are they?" Riven hesitated. "There are rumors other test subjects, locked away. They're planning to wipe everything. No witnesses. No survivors. You're the only one who got out." Ayla's anger burned cold. "Then we have to stop them." Riven shook his head. "They're too powerful. The security, the AI, the guards, they'll never let you near the main lab." She looked at him, her voice steady. "They built me to be unstoppable. Let's find out if it's true." Before Riven could answer, the door exploded inward. Armed guards stormed in, their weapons pointed straight at Ayla. Red laser dots covered her chest. Riven jumped to his feet, but there was no time. Ayla raised her hands, but the guards grabbed Riven, forcing him to his knees. "If you want him to live, come quietly," the leader barked. Ayla's eyes met Riven's. For a second, neither of them spoke. She saw fear in his face, not for himself, but for her. She nodded, silent, and let the guards bind her arms. They marched her and Riven out of the tunnels and into a black armored van. Inside, a woman in a gray suit waited. She looked cold and expensive, her eyes sharp as knives. "So this is Project Aura," she said, almost smiling. "You've caused quite a lot of trouble." Kayla stared at her, unblinking. "We were going to erase your memories. Start over," the woman continued. "But you've become something new, something we can't control. That's dangerous." Ayla felt anger rising, but she kept it buried. "Let Riven go. He has nothing to do with this." The woman laughed. "He's the reason you exist. Heal. Stay right where I can see him." The van stopped. Ayla and Riven were dragged through underground corridors and into a laboratory even colder than her memories. Rows of computers blinked. Men in lab coats watched her with wide, nervous eyes. The woman gestured. "Take her to the holding cell. Prepare the procedure." Riven struggled, trying to break free. "Ayla, don't let them." The guards cut him off. Ayla looked back at Riven one last time as the heavy door slammed shut. In the cell, Ayla sat on the floor, heart pounding. But she wasn't afraid. Not anymore. She remembered everything now, what they did to her, who she was before, and who she wanted to become. She took a deep breath and smiled. They thought they could control her, but they had no idea what she had learned about machines, about people, and most of all, about herself. Tonight, she would stop being their experiment. Tonight, she would fight for everyone they had tried to destroy. Inside her cell, Ayla sat perfectly still, listening. The walls were cold steel, covered with sensors. Cameras blinked down at her. She knew escape would not be easy. But she was no longer just a runaway. She was awake, fully awake. Every wire. In the walls, every camera eye, she could almost feel them in her mind. Outside, in the main lab, Riven was locked to a chair. His wrists were bound, his head low. The woman in the gray suit paced in front of him. "You built her to think for herself," she said, voice sharp. "You made her care. You made her dangerous." Riven didn't answer. His eyes were on the security monitors, searching for Ayla in her cell. Ayla reached inside herself, not with her hands, but with her thoughts. She called up memories of code, of machines, of all the data they'd once forced into her brain. She found a weak spot in the cell's power grid. She pressed her hand to the wall and sent a silent command, one she didn't remember learning, but somehow always knew. The lights flickered. The cameras went dark for just a second. It was enough. Ayla tore the sensor panel free, feeling no pain as it shocked her metal fingers. She ripped out the wires and pulled herself through the crawl space behind the wall. An alarm started, screaming red across the whole lab. Guards ran down the hall, shouting orders. Ayla moved fast, silent as a ghost, her legs carrying her quicker than anyone could follow. In the control room, the woman shouted, "Seal every door. Do not let her reach the core." She turned to Riven, smiling coldly. "She come for you, you know? You're her weakness." Riven smiled back, but his eyes were fierce. "She's not anyone's weapon anymore." Ayla raced through the halls, dodging the guards, disabling security with a touch, using every hidden skill. As she moved, she heard voices, faint, desperate, coming from other locked rooms, other test subjects, other people like her. She stopped at one door, her heart pounding. "I'm going to get you out," she whispered. A voice inside answered, "We've waited so long." She hacked the lock with her mind, fingers dancing on the panel. The door slid open and 3 people stepped out, frightened, half machine, eyes shining with hope. "Follow me," Ayla said. "We leave together." They moved through the chaos, more doors opening, more prisoners freed. Each time, Ayla felt stronger, not because of her legs, but because she wasn't alone anymore. Alarms blared. Gas hissed from hidden vents. Ayla's lungs burned, but she pushed forward, carrying a young boy who couldn't walk, guiding a blind girl with metal eyes. At last, she reached the core lab. The woman in gray and her guards waited, guns raised. Riven was on his knees beside them, beaten but still fighting. The woman smiled. "You can't win. We control this place. We control you." Ayla stepped forward, shaking her head. "No, you never controlled me. You never understood." The woman raised her gun. "Join us. Ayla, with your power, you could be more than human. You could rule this world. All you have to do is obey." Ayla looked at Riven. He nodded, hope shining in his eyes. She faced the woman, her voice clear. "I'm not for sale." She lifted her hand, sending a surge of code into the room. Screens flashed and sparked. The guards' weapons jammed. The lights exploded in showers of sparks. The freed test subjects ran past the stunned guards, helping each other to safety. The woman screamed, firing her gun wildly, but Ayla was already moving. With one swift kick, she sent the gun flying. With another, she smashed the main control. Panel red lights flashed everywhere. The entire lab began to shake as backup generators overloaded. Ayla knelt beside Riven, breaking his bonds with a snap of her fingers. "Are you ready?" she asked, smiling through tears. He nodded, standing with her, his hand in hers. "Let's finish this," he said. They led the others out, through fire and falling steel, past broken machines and broken dreams. For the first time, Ayla felt not like an experiment, not like a weapon, but like a leader, someone strong because she chose to be. Outside, the sun was rising over the city, painting gold across the ruined lab. Ayla looked back only once, watching as the building collapsed. Behind them, taking the darkness with it. Beside her, Riven squeezed her hand. Around them, the others breathed the morning air free for the first time. Ayla took her first step into the sunlight on her own legs, surrounded by people she had saved. She wasn't cold anymore. She wasn't running anymore. She was alive, and for the first time, she was truly free.